there, and welcome to Backfocus, where we take you behind the cameras and the people that make your community television work here in the city of Pittsfield. I'm Matthew Tucker, a production technician at Pittsfield Community Television and your host. You may have noticed that we are not in our usual climes at the Pittsfield Community Television studios. We are in fact here at Pittsfield City Hall because the topic of this episode is a very exciting bit of news for Pittsfield Community Television. PCTV are beginning a major upgrade of the City Hall facilities. And I wanted to take an opportunity to show you what the facilities look like at the beginning of that upgrade, and we'll jump ahead in time during this episode and show you what they look like at the end, so you'll have a better understanding of what all these changes will mean to the folks at home, as well as what it means to the quality of the production that you experience day in and day out on CityLink. Let's take a look in the control room of the City Hall facility and join Shawn Serre, who's already there getting things ready so we can begin this major upgrade. So here we are in the seldom seen production control area at Pittsfield City Hall. I'm here with Shawn Serre, who by day is the education coordinator, Pittsfield ETV's operator, but by night is the engineer for Pittsfield Community Television. Shawn, thank you for giving me a tour.
Oh, my pleasure.
So first of all, what are we working with currently? So we have a baseline and an understanding as to why an upgrade is needed, because I'm sure a lot of people don't understand why would we need to go from what we've got to something new.
Okay. Well, a good amount of the equipment that's in this room was purchased and installed in 1996. So it's just shy of 20 years old. We did a major upgrade to it in the year 2002, which again is about 13 years ago from when we're taping this today. And broadcast television equipment a lot of times will have a life of no more than about 10 or 12 years. And that's due to either things just dying and burning out, and it can also be to obsolescence. And we're seeing kind of a combination of things here in this room. We're seeing, first of all, both of the rooms, the control rooms that are in here, one for the main chamber and one for room 203. There are two separate control rooms in this place because there can be two meetings going on at the same time, and they each need to be controlled, operated, and recorded, and one of them needs to go live. And that happens quite frequently here at City Hall. Both of those control rooms the format of them is standard definition. And people at home would understand standard definition as the old tube TVs that they had for 40 or 50 years in some cases. It was the old square 4x3 screen that you saw, and of course the newer TV standard that most people watch now at home on most of the TV channels that they get is high definition. It's 16:9. It's more of a rectangular screen, and it's a flat panel. It's no more a tube. So you can actually see in this room that there are still quite a few tube televisions here. We still have a couple of flat panel machines, but for the most part, you're working with some very old, as you can see, black and white.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're mentioning tubes, and
yes.
You've got a wide array of tubes here in front of us.
Right, and when this equipment was installed, it was all very common and very regular to put something like this in. It was, some of it in fact was state of the art when it was put in, but that is a good number of years ago now, and it has served us well. We've maintained the equipment over the years. We've kept it running. We've made it cost efficient, but it just was time to do that update, and we now have the means to take care of that and to do a complete overhaul of the room. So what we're able to do really with that is, instead of having two separate control rooms in this tiny little rectangle box of a room, which is actually kind of hard to tell what it looks like on TV, but I could almost stretch my arms out from one side of the room to the other
and touch the wall.
And touch both walls. So
it's small in here.
It's a tiny room. So we decided to design it really from the ground up, saying, okay, if we had an empty room, how would we really want to work this? And there were a couple of things that we had to take into consideration. And one of them was that sometimes there is only one PCTV technician, whether that's you or Ryan Cowdrey or possibly Dave Cachet or sometimes myself, operating one or two meetings at the same time with a bunch of different kinds of equipment, so that the floor is basically worn out between these two areas.
That's true.
Because you end up having to do camera work and video and audio and recording and everything to this meeting, the main chamber, and then somehow also pay attention to what's going on over here at the same time, and it makes it for a very difficult production. So
if you've done multitasking at home and doing two screen, having a device in one hand and your TV running in the other, you haven't done it quite in a way like when you're running two meetings at once, especially when they're on opposite walls of the room and you've got a wheelie chair running between spot to spot to try to give people at home the best possible production.
Right, and it really is a testament to the skills of the folks doing this. I gotta say that to you guys, that you're able to do that in such a way that the people at home are still able to follow the meeting and not even know all the work that's going on behind the scenes to bring those meetings to you. So just the fact that people are able to watch it, they're understanding what's going on with the meeting, they're hearing people talking, and they're seeing them at the same time. It is no small feat to be able to do that with two separate rooms at the same time. So we decided to redesign the room from the ground up so that it would be easier for one person to take care of that, while also taking into account there are times when we would need more than one person operating one meeting, another person operating another meeting, or possibly two people operating one meeting, one possibly doing audio and the other one doing cameras or something like that. So we tried to work in all those different possibilities, and it was really months of design work and planning, and then choice of equipment and consoles and things like that, and some very close work with the City Hall buildings and maintenance people, and
who've been fantastic. I understand.
They've all been very fantastic. Yep. So it's been a long process, and we're really excited that it's just about to get underway right now.
Well, and to reiterate, in addition to making it easier to make that production, we're talking about equipment. And you think about your home electronics. Imagine starting your family and buying some home electronics the same time that your child is born. Now you're looking to replace those electronics as they're starting college. That's the same sort of upgrade process that we're thinking of here, except it's quite a bit more complex because we're talking about professional television equipment,
right,
and not your home TV and camcorder.
Yeah, and using the home analogy, I think most people can understand also that something in your house that's between 13 and 19 years old, especially if it's a major thing like an appliance or a television or some major thing, a lot of times those things have run their course by that amount of time. You've either gotten your use out of them and they're starting to fail and they're starting to be not as predictable with whether they're going to work for you or not, or like your TV, and many people have really changed over from tube TVs to flat panel TVs because they're much nicer, they use less energy, they throw off much less heat, the picture quality is astounding, and so people after a while say, well, this is the good time for me to replace that old piece of equipment, and that's kind of where we're at right now. And the last piece I would say is that we're hoping that once this is done, Time Warner Cable can also see that we are putting out a much higher quality product here at City Hall, and that they will also respond in kind and allow us to show that HD signal all the way through to the end user, to the viewer at home.
That'd be fantastic for people to be able to see the quality level that PCTV is producing at.
Right. And if people at some point don't see that, we hope they call their cable company and ask for it, because that's really the only way that they'll probably get to see it, is to ask for it from their cable company and say, I really want to see the PCTV signal in the highest quality standard that they're producing.
Nice. All right, so sort of a quick overview of all of the stuff. So everything that we've seen sort of in the background and that we've been talking about is getting replaced in this upgrade, right?
Pretty much, yeah. And we'll just give you a quick overview of what's going on here. So there's kind of 4 different things that happen in this area for an operator. There is the video switcher. This is what selects the different cameras that go on the air, and you can see pictures of them right now. Obviously there's no one in main chamber, so we're just seeing an empty room.
Yep.
But there's camera 1, 2, 3, and 4, and so an operator will select which camera is on the air using the switcher. Over here, this is the camera controller, and this camera controller allows the operator to move what we call pan, tilt, and zoom the camera. So you may need to pan it left or right, you may need to tilt it up and down, you may need to zoom it in and out, and you may need to focus the camera. And all that is done remotely. These cameras are mounted on the wall inside the main chamber, so no one ever has to be in the chamber in order to move those cameras. And there's 4 cameras currently in the main chamber. And then over here is the graphics machine, and this is again something that's happening simultaneously while you're controlling the switcher and the camera controller. You also need to sometimes put up titles, people's names, what we call a lower third at the bottom, possibly a full screen graphic that tells you what meeting it is and what date the meeting was recorded on. All those things have to happen over here in the graphics workstation. And then finally, way over here at the end is the audio gear, and that consists of a fairly large audio board because there are so many microphones open in the City Council chamber. There's 11 councilors, there's a clerk, there's a podium, and there's a mic for the mayor, in addition to a couple of wireless mics that are used on occasion for some meetings. And then each one of those channels needs a channel of compression, which allows the microphones to sound nice and even so that they don't sound distorted. And then the final thing is an equalization and some feedback elimination, which helps the sound inside the room be heard a little bit better. And that's going through a major overhaul as well, due to some of the workings that we've had with the Buildings and Maintenance Subcommittee of the City Council, where they asked us for a little bit of help in improving the sound in the chamber, because it has been notoriously hard to hear what goes on in the meetings if you're actually sitting in the room. The PA system was not very good. Again, that's it's about 19 years old, and it was overdue to be replaced. So partnership between PCTV and the city, we're getting that improved and updated.
Nice.
So when you attend a meeting here at City Hall in the main chamber, your experience will be much improved.
Nice.
So that's what happens at the main chamber. And then over here, kind of a smaller version of that happens.
Yeah, the same thing in miniature, kind of.
Exactly, for room 203. So we have, a flat panel TV, albeit an older one. And you can kind of see what happens there. You have 3 cameras instead of 4 there, and we're actually increasing that to 4 when we do the update. The operator will control the cameras here with this remote controller. It looks a little different than the one you saw before. The cameras are chosen using a keyboard and a mouse instead of a switcher, because the switcher is actually a piece of computer hardware and software.
And just to roll back quickly there, you mentioned, in addition to the equipment here in this room, we're changing the cameras as well.
Right. So in order to upgrade the format of the video from standard definition to high definition, it's required that we replace the cameras. And actually, out of the entire investment, the camera purchase is probably almost half of the entire investment. The cameras are just expensive, and they are a long-term investment. The cameras that we have there served us well, but it is time to upgrade and to make a change. So they'll all be updated with high-definition cameras. And then over here is the smaller audio board. Again, it's a smaller meeting room, so it doesn't require the number of microphones that we use in the main chamber, but all that is controlled right here. And then on this rack is all the various recording and transmitting equipment to get the meeting back out live, and also to record it and play it back later.
Nice.
You can see some more tube televisions there.
Yes. All right, so
this room is just about to go under the knife, as we say. It's about to get a major upgrade and a major change, and today is the very first day of that, where we'll be taking the room 203 equipment, packing it away, and bringing it back to PCTV. And then in a couple days, the rest of this will go. The room will get somewhat of a little bit of a makeover, because the flooring needs a little attention, the walls need some attention. It's really the best time to do that. And then once that's all taken care of, we start building a new control room at Pittsfield Community Television's little area here in City Hall.
Nice. So through the magic of television, we are going to jump through time, and you're going to get an opportunity to see things start moving out and that big transition happen. And at the end, we're going to take you through a tour of the new facility. So sit tight, and I will see you. It'll take a few minutes for you, but for me, it'll be a few weeks.